Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Mark and Pam Rubin Dean of UCR's School of Medicine, Deborah Dees.
Good evening, graduates, parents, family members, friends, and distinguished guests. Welcome to the UCR School of Medicine's inaugural Hippocratic Oath ceremony and commencement. It is my pleasure to introduce MD candidate Stephanie Stramotis, who will lead us in singing the national anthem. Please rise.
Please join me in facing the flag and singing our national anthem. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Thank you.
You may be seated. Thank you very much, Ms. Stramatis. The creation of this medical school took a village. Innumerable community members and visionary leaders came together on behalf of inland Southern California. All of you, working together, contributed to this milestone, the graduation of the first class of medical students from the University of California, Riverside School of Medicine. And I say thank you. I would like to recognize and thank a few individuals present whose leadership and vision played an integral role in making the UCR School of Medicine a reality. As I call your names, please stand so that we can express our gratitude for your efforts. University of California Regent John A. Perez. The Honorable Richard Roth, California State Senator. The Honorable Jose Medina, California State Assembly Member. Senator Jeff Stone. Assemblymember Sabrina Cervantes. Dr. Thomas Hyder, member of the UCR Foundation Board of Trustees. And Mrs. Salma Hyder, This couple has a long-standing and visionary support that continues with the newly created Thomas Hyder Clinical Award of Excellence, which we proudly confer to graduating students Omar Aldas. There are a number of UCR Foundation trustees and UCR Alumni Association board members who have joined us this evening. Will our trustees and alumni board members please stand to be recognized? As I said, it really took a village, and I wish that I could thank each of you individually. I would like to introduce those members of the administrative party not coming to the microphone this evening. Please stand as I call your names. Joining us from UCR leadership, Vice Chancellor for University Advancement, Peter Hayashida. Vice Chancellor for Research and Economic Development, Michael Pisani. Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs, James Sandoval. Associate Chancellor, Christine Victorino. Vice Provost for Academic Personnel, Amia Walker. Dean of University Extension, Sharon Duffy. Dean of the Graduate Division, Kevin Easterling. University Librarian, Steve Mandeville Gamble. Associate Vice Chancellor for Diversity and Inclusion, Miriam Lamb. Chair of the Riverside Division of the Academic Senate, Dylan Rodriguez. Assistant Vice Provost for Undergraduate Education, Thomas Dixon. From the School of Medicine, Senior Associate Dean for Research, David Lowe. Associate Dean for Clinical Medical Education, Andrew Alexander. Associate Dean for Finance and Administration, Louise Borda. Associate Dean for Assessment and Evaluation, Kendrick Davis. Associate Dean for Academic Affairs, Irina Ethel. Associate Dean for Graduate Medical Education, Gerald McGuire. Chair of Biomedical Sciences, Monica Carson. Chair of Clinical Sciences, Ramdas Pai. Chair of Surgery, Arnold Tabenko. Senior Counselor, Senior Counsel, Tamala Choma. We also have many members of the faculty with us. Will the faculty please rise? Thank you all for joining us for this celebration. Now, graduates, today is your day. On behalf of the administration, faculty, and staff of UC Riverside, I extend my warmest congratulations to you, the class of 2017. This graduation and Hippocratic oath ceremony marks the next step in your journey. For some of you, this has been a lifelong dream, and for others, it was an aha discovery somewhere along the way. For all of you, reaching this point is a testament to your dedication, persistence, and the support and encouragement of your family, close friends, as well as the faculty who taught you and the staff who provided support. Tonight, we celebrate your achievements and extend our best wishes for your journey and lifelong learning yet to come. Of course, you will soon take your very next step, residency training. You know this already, but I must take a moment to brag about our class to our audience. 100% of our graduating students matched into residency training programs during their first round. This is a phenomenal result for any medical school, much more so for a relatively new medical school. Actually, this is the first time in my 15 years of working in medical education that I have witnessed this in my academic medicine career. More than 3/4 of you matched in one of your top 3 residency program choices. This is another impressive outcome. You have set the bar high for the classes that will follow you for many years to come. Individually and collectively, you are pioneers of the UCR School of Medicine, a community-based medical school with the audacious goal of improving the health of people who live in our region. You took a chance on us, and we are better for it. With your passion for our mission and your feedback, we were inspired to deliver the best possible educational experience. And on the eve of this graduation and this Hippocratic oath ceremony, the Liaison Committee on Medical Education, LCME, the accrediting body of medical schools in the United States and Canada, called me personally to let me know that we achieved full medical school accreditation for the full 5 years. Many of you have earned special awards and scholarships as indicated in the program. You have demonstrated the extraordinary leadership attributes we recognize in you when we admitted you to the UCR Medical School. And each of you embodies the values of our medical school: integrity, inclusion, innovation, excellence, accountability, and respect. We know that you will have a bright future and you will represent the UCR School of Medicine well. Class of 2017, we are so very proud of you. Congratulations. I am honored now to introduce the 9th Chancellor of UC Riverside, Kim A. Wilcox.
Thank you, Dean Dees, and welcome and congratulations. I was just chatting with Regent Perez about what a singular moment this is. It is the case that for most everybody in the room, this will be the one time in their life that they will attend an inaugural graduation from a medical school. It will be the only time in our institution's life, but it also will likely be the only time in each of your lives. That's the sense of what's going on here today. It means that those of you in the community who have worked so long and so hard for this, this is a culmination, but for all of us, this is a beginning. And I particularly want to talk to the younger students in the audience, the high school students and the grade school students. They'll be, years from now, able to talk about something that few other people have ever seen or witnessed. And to the graduates, we've all been in institutions, colleges and universities, and you go through the administration building, there's a photo on the wall, right? It's the photo of the first class. Nobody hangs up a photo of the second class. They hang up a photo of the first class. That's you. Forever, you will be that first class. And think, yes. And appreciate that now. 75, 80, 85 years from now, people will be walking through the dean's office at the University of California, Riverside School of Medicine in some building that's not even envisioned yet, and there will be your picture. And people will laugh at our clothes, and they'll think how quaint the lighting was and how bad the photography was, but it'll be you in the photo. And that will be the case forever. And we're proud to have you in that place for us forever. But I also want us to think a little bit about the solemnity of today. In just a bit, you're going to take the Hippocratic Oath, and I'm not going to go through the whole thing. You know it, and you'll see it again. But there's a couple of words in there I want to focus on. Sacred trust. Sacred trust. Now, for those of you who know me, I have great respect for a woman named Tamara Valde. She was my high school Latin teacher. And Tamara would want me to think a little bit about what sacred trust meant. And sacred comes from the Latin word sacrare, which means to be distinct from or to be set apart from. That's what the roots of sacred really are, this sense of distinctiveness. So why is this trust so sacred? Why is this trust so much distinct and so separate from other things? I believe it has to do with that commitment that you have to your patients, but more importantly, the way that those patients forever will see you. Many of us have been in rooms, hospitals, or on planes or something where someone said, "Is there a doctor in the house?" For the rest of your lives, your answer will always be yes. That's the nature of the trust that you've assumed. That's a pretty important trust, and one that does, in fact, set you apart from, makes you distinct from others. And I am, again, proud, I know the dean and I know the faculty are proud, that you're a group who are going to accept that sacred trust and walk proudly with that trust, always be the doctor in the room, and always do the things that are right for you, for your patients, and that, as a chancellor, importantly, reflect well on your alma mater. We're so proud to have you be the first class of medical students at the University of California, Riverside, and we wish you all the best. Congratulations.
Thank you, Chancellor Wilcox. It is now my pleasure to introduce our Provost and Executive Vice Chancellor, Cynthia K. LaRive.
Congratulations, class of 2017. You have excelled in a rigorous and stimulating MD curriculum that included block courses, the longitudinal ambulatory care experience, doctoring, clinical skills, anatomy, clinical rotations, electives, and selectives. You've demonstrated your mastery of the skills required of a physician in your final exams, OSCEs, and the National Board of Medical Examiners Step 1 and Step 2 exams. You have also distinguished your selflessness in your service through the Riverside Free Clinic, the San Bernardino Free Clinic, and numerous community health fairs. And you have brought great distinction to UC Riverside. Your family and friends, the community, and the faculty of the School of Medicine have all contributed to today's achievement. Though the UCR Medical School opened just 4 short years ago, there were aspirations that extended nearly 3 decades prior to your arrival. We began in the 1970s as a 2-year medical education partnership with UCLA. In fact, celebrating with us today are several members of that very first cohort of students, alumni of both UCR and UCLA School of Medicine. Thank you for joining us in this historic occasion. Over the years, this medical education program evolved to be more responsive to community needs, and with the generosity of Dr. and Mrs. Hayter, became the UCR-UCLA Thomas Hayter Program in Biomedical Sciences. It was shortly thereafter that we began in earnest the long and challenging process of developing an independent School of Medicine at UC Riverside. Through it all, the faculty have dedicated their efforts to creating an educational program and student support services of the very highest quality. And your feedback, the class of 2017, has helped us to continue to refine the program. So I salute both the faculty and the graduating students, for it has been a partnership in creating this most distinctive medical school. Let's celebrate their achievement. Thank you.
Thank you, Provost LaRive. Our next participant represents the alumni of the University of California, Riverside. Daniel Kim, UCR class of 1989, is the immediate past president of the UCR Alumni Association and chair for the Department of Medicine at the Riverside University Health System. Dr. Kim also serves as program director for the UCR Internal Medicine Residency Program and is a clinical professor in the UCR School of Medicine. I am pleased to present Dr. Daniel Kim to provide remarks on behalf of all UCR alumni.
On behalf of the UCR Alumni Association and more than 110,000 alumni, it is my distinct pleasure to welcome the class of 2017 graduates to the ranks of countless successful and accomplished individuals who have passed through these halls. And now I ask each of you to look around and capture the moment, this hour, this day. You will all experience other milestones in your life, but rarely will you have the family and friends there to share those achievements with you in quite the same way as you have today. When you look back on your life, this day will be one that clearly marked a culmination of a journey. Make no mistake, this is a significant achievement. To have arrived at this moment, you put in long, strenuous hours. And with the help of fellow students, the inspiration of faculty, and the support of your family, you have navigated your way. But do not underestimate the fact that you were the ones that held the compass steady throughout, allowing you to bring ambition to fulfillment. Remember this time and cherish this place. With your degree, you are about to embark on your next journey. But as you continue to grow and advance, remember the impact that your alma mater has had on your life. Who you will become will reflect directly on UCR. Your experiences have helped to shape who you are today and will always be a point of pride and accomplishment. From this day forward, we'll be fortunate to indeed call you our graduates. Congratulations, class of 2017, and welcome to the alumni family.
Thank you, Dr. Kim. I now ask Dr. Emma Simmons, our Associate Dean for Student Affairs, to the podium. Dr. Simmons will introduce our student speaker.
It is my pleasure to introduce this evening's student speaker. Anish Demeja has earned the great honor of serving as the student speaker for the very first School of Medicine commencement and Hippocratic oath ceremony. Not only is Anish an outstanding student academically, he has set a stellar example in his service while enrolled here at the UCR School of Medicine. He served as a clinic manager and board director of the Riverside Free Clinic and as president of the school's first, another first, Family and Preventive Medicine Interest Group, along with numerous other service activities. He has truly found his calling in medicine, and especially with helping the underserved communities. Next month, Anish will start a combined residency program in family medicine and psychiatry at UC San Diego. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Anish Demeja.
I promise I did not cram this. All right. Hi, everyone. It is such an honor to be standing up here today. I'd like to begin by thanking everyone who put together this wonderful event. I can only imagine the hours and hard work spent on organizing this important day in our lives. I'd also like to thank all the family and friends here today, from near and far, including those who are watching on the live stream. Words cannot do justice to the roles you all have played in our lives. We did not get here alone. For my commencement speech, I'd like to do something a little unconventional, surprise, and read a letter I wrote to my old self describing my journey over the past 4 years. Dear 2013 Anish, I vividly recall the day you received your decision letter at UC Riverside. And I remember it being a small envelope, and as all pre-med students know, a small envelope meant rejection. And I remember your heart beating out of your chest while opening that envelope. And I remember that exact moment you realized it was an acceptance letter. There was a loud yelp, a vocal pitch you never knew you could reach, and a wide smile. This was special. This was the one you were hoping for. Trusting your gut, one by one, you rejected the other programs you were accepted to and took the risk to be part of the inaugural class. And now I can look back and tell you why choosing UCR was the best decision you've ever made. Medical school will come with its challenges. You'll be financially dependent on the government. Important events will be missed, like holidays, birthdays, the birth of your nephew. And instead, you'll be stuck studying in this dingy room with no ventilation that smells like your past 5 meals, aka the trailers. And your friends back home will be moving ahead. You know, they'll be buying homes, traveling the world, going to brunch, and you will feel static. And somehow, no matter what year you are in medical school, you'll always find yourself at the bottom of the totem pole, reminded of how much more medicine you need to learn. Fortunately, you will have immense support throughout this journey. The city of Riverside will embrace you as a member of the inaugural class, of which they are so proud. And you'll find yourself a family within the walls of UCR School of Medicine. Dr. Schiller, the wise, compassionate father figure. Dr. Simmons, the staff mother, ensuring that you're taken care of and taking care of others. Your laid-back uncles, Drs. Lyons, Dawadi, and Davis, who will remind you that life is larger than medicine. Your hip aunts, Drs. Dupper and Millard, whose empathy for med student life will be second to none. And the most fantastic cousins, your administrative staff, who will deal with your last-minute deadlines and fight for you. You will miss all of them, their warmth, their compassion, their open-mindedness, their courage to challenge the status quo. But you know what you'll miss the most, Anish? That place where you felt safe to be yourself. Not once did you feel like a stranger in that building, and that's family. What will ultimately hold this family together, though, will be the new bond that you form with your brothers and sisters. Building a new school is like building a spaceship. And like any spaceship that is the first of its kind, there will be malfunctions. Broken gears, engine issues, forgotten precautions. But when you're holding the hands of those brothers and sisters, those bumps don't feel as bad. The bruises are a little less painful. And even the most difficult of obstacles seem conquerable. And you will be fortunate to have some very strong hands holding yours. Hands that will hold you during your last-minute studying and support you with wine, barbecues, and hot tub sessions. Your class will be full of character and of great characters. One will fearlessly ask any question that comes to mind. Another can answer most of those questions. One will spontaneously start a happy birthday chorus. And another will talk about premature baldness in a number of recorded podcasts. Together, you and your 39 brothers and sisters will pour their hearts into school to help design, pilot, crash, repair, and wobble the spaceship into orbit. And the result will be an unbreakable bond that will secure a foundation for future generations. Anish, on this journey, your spaceship will face a pretty severe collision. I will never forget the pain in your scream, the anger as you banged your fist against the wall, the disappointment after failing the most important exam of medical school. You will rely on your UCR family, your adopted Riverside family, your friends and family at home to pick you up and help you fly again. And you will learn that even the worst failures can have a purpose, whether as a platform for personal growth or to hopefully help others avoid the same fate, and you will be better for it. In the end, Anish, this will be an unforgettable, exhilarating, and emotional journey. Riverside will become your second home with its nurturing environment and the most supportive of friends. 4 years of intense education will be combined with self-discovery, but through it all, you will walk out a better person, more compassionate, and possessing a better understanding of people and of yourself. And there's not much more you could ask for from the best decision of your life. Good luck, kid. Dr. Anish Damija. To my classmates, in a few days, we will be all over the country. Let us never forget our roots as members of the UCR inaugural class, and let us never lose that part of us that still fiercely cares about patients, especially those less fortunate. It was an honor to build a spaceship with you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Damija. It is my pleasure to now introduce this evening's keynote speaker. Dr. David M. Carlisle is President and CEO of Charles R. Drew University School of Medicine and Science in Los Angeles, an institution with a mission that is very much in harmony with that of UCR School of Medicine, to train a diverse physician workforce and to serve the population in its area as well as underserved populations around. He is a professor of public health and medicine at Charles Drew University and also holds an adjunct faculty position in the David Geffen School of Medicine at UCLA. He's widely published in health policy, quality of care, medical education, diversity, and eliminating health disparities. Dr. Carlisle earned his medical degree from Brown University and a master's in public health and PhD from the UCLA Fielding School of Public Health. Prior to joining Charles Drew University, he worked for the state of California as director of the Office of Statewide Health and Development. Please join me in welcoming Dr. David Carlisle.
Well, thank you, Dean Dees. It is indeed an honor to be here with you. I am deeply honored to bring greetings to the class of 2017. As you've heard, the inaugural four-year class of the UC Riverside School of Medicine, as well as your dean, your faculty, your staff, alumni from the previous medical education program, and of course, your trustees, your chancellor, and our University of California Regent. Congratulations to the class of 2017. Yes, for your graduation, but also this is the day for the first time that we acknowledge the realization of your long-term dream by calling each of you doctor. Congratulations as well to all of your loved ones, your parents, your brothers and sisters, your spouses, your significant others, all of whom made sacrifices on your behalf to get you where you are get you where you are today. Some of them no doubt delayed or even sacrificed their goals and put their dreams on hold to enable you to achieve your own. Let us now pause to give them all, these two often unheralded supporters of the class of 2017, a well-deserved ovation. UC Riverside plays an important role serving the Inland Empire, indeed all the people of California, by training a diverse workforce of physicians and by developing innovative research and healthcare delivery system programs that will improve the health of the medically underserved, becoming a model to be emulated throughout the state and the nation. This inaugural graduation is auspicious in and of itself. You see, I know it wasn't easy to create the UC Riverside School of Medicine. When the class of 2017 first matriculated 4 years ago, people around the country took notice because your mission focuses on a population that is too often overlooked, too often not considered, too often not mentioned, and yes, too often neglected, the population of what we euphemistically call the Inland Empire. So it's a privilege to say on behalf of the students, faculty, alumni, staff, and trustees of Charles R. Drew University of Medicine and Science that I deeply appreciate the distinction accorded to me today and my institution by asking me to address you. I can't help but note that you are becoming physicians at perhaps the most important juncture ever in American medical history. I'm not talking about the vast and inexorable adoption of new and amazingly dramatic medical technology here, although I could. What I'm talking about is best expressed through a parable that I call Sisyphus and the Sailboat. Now, those of you who remember the legend of Sisyphus, and I know that as science geeks, most of us can't be expected to, just like we aren't expected to write very well, you'll recall that Sisyphus is the guy who was condemned to an eternity of pushing a huge boulder up a mountain only to have it roll back to the bottom again and again and again. Now, some of you are probably wondering, a huge boulder and a sailboat, those don't really go too well together. And they really don't have anything to do with being a doctor, but indeed they do. Because our nation has been pursuing the Sisyphean task of achieving universal health insurance for over 100 years. Presidents since Teddy Roosevelt, including Teddy's cousin Franklin, Harry Truman, John F. Kennedy, Lyndon Johnson, Richard Nixon, Jimmy Carter, George H.W. Bush, and most famously Bill Clinton, have pushed the boulder up the hill time and time again, only to have it roll back down. We're now at the point where, under the administration of the previous president, Barack Obama, we actually got that boulder all the way to the top of the hill. He's the latest healthcare reform Sisyphus. But it's wobbling at the top of the hill as we speak, and the question is, will it roll back down again? We're striving to join the ranks of every other industrialized nation in the world in achieving full universal health insurance for all their citizens, something that has eluded our country for almost 100 years. I'll come back to the sailboat in just a minute, but I have 3 vignettes to share with you about patients I've treated. These stories underscore how critical the pursuit of universal health insurance coverage is for our nation, why it's so important that the boulder not be allowed to roll back down the mountain. The first vignette is about a member of the original Drifters. You know them as the group who sang Under the Boardwalk. I know our students may not know them that way, but most of the rest of the audience does. One of the greatest, of course, all-time rock and roll hits. I took care of him when I was a resident at Harbor UCLA Medical Center, a county hospital in Los Angeles, where he later died. I remember struck by not who he was, but by his circumstances. Here was a legend, an American musical icon, whose work was known to and loved by just about everyone, and he was spending his last days in a safety net hospital because, despite his fame, he lacked health insurance. The second vignette is of a young man who I first treated for a sexually acquired infection when I was an intern. Let's call him Zach Nelson. Thinking I'd never see this patient again, I was surprised when as chief resident of medicine 3 years later, I was summoned to the emergency room to see Zach again. He was now married with 2 daughters, and he had asked for me by name. Looking at his chest x-ray, I saw that he most likely had metastatic testicular cancer, and I asked him, Zach, what happened? He said, I went to see a urologist, but when they found out I had no health insurance, they dropped me. I had no access to care except to come to the county hospital, and here I am today. After his unavoidable death, residents at Harbor banded together to fund the lawsuit that successfully created an endowment for his family's support and education. And finally, there's a story from my faculty days of a patient I was asked to see after all the residents had left the general internal medicine clinic for their lunch break. I could tell what was wrong with him before I even entered the room. You can ask me how later if you don't know. As I walked in, I said, Mr. Jones, we need to amputate your leg or you're going to die from diabetic gangrene. He said, I know. I heard on the radio about the outstanding reputation here. That's why I drove all the way down from Oxnard. I replied, but there's someone else you have to speak to first. A few minutes later, the patient services representative simply shook her head as she left after interviewing him. I went back into his room and said, sorry, Mr. Jones, we can't admit you here because you lack health insurance. But I can arrange for you to receive outstanding health care at LA County Harbor, where I trained. He called me on the phone 3 weeks later, thanking me for saving his life. These vignettes all have one common denominator, the inhumane effect of the lack of health insurance on Americans. These stories illustrate the unique challenge of the American healthcare system, a challenge that is greatly reduced, but is still not entirely eliminated. Because again, we stand alone among industrialized nations as the only country where your first medical procedure is always the wallet biopsy. And the wallet biopsy is where you wake up in the emergency room. I'm looking for the card. Don't have the right one yet. They've already done the wallet biopsy on you. Or you go to see your primary care doctor, and the first thing they do, I'm covering the name of the company, the first thing they do is the wallet biopsy. Pass the wallet biopsy with one of these cards, and you can get the best health care in the world. But if you don't pass it, bad things can happen to you, very bad things. As a result, it should be no surprise that, despite spending as much as 50% more per capita for health care, our country ranks so low among other industrialized nations in terms of metrics such as maternal mortality, life expectancy, infant mortality, and amenable mortality especially, that is deaths due to treatable conditions, and the list goes on. I don't have to tell you that right here, this is especially true in the Inland Empire. Just like South Los Angeles, this area where we are today is an epicenter of what it means to have so many people, so many grandparents, fathers, mothers, sisters, and brothers, and children without health insurance. This is indeed where so many people have benefited from the Affordable Care Act, and so many people are terrified about a future without it. This is why universal health insurance must be recognized as a right in the United States, not a privilege. Regardless of race, regardless of ethnicity, regardless of gender, regardless of socioeconomic status or health insurance status or sexual identity, regardless of language spoken or country of origin, regardless of the zip code one lives in. Which brings me back to the sailboat. You remember this is the parable of Sisyphus and the sailboat. Now, those of you who know how to sail a sailboat know that you can't sail directly into the wind. It's known, ironically, as the dead zone. To move down a path toward the direction of the wind, sailors have to tack back and forth, going slowly to and fro to make headway. And this is where we find ourselves today, because we are tacking to and fro as we pursue universal health insurance. It's important now to remember that the Canadians took 50 years to enact their universal health insurance system with multiple starts and repeals. Even Medicare, covering virtually all elderly Americans, was a political compromise, a tack on the path to universal health insurance. But I want to end on an optimistic note, so I'll share with you two pretty profound quotes. The first is often attributed to Winston Churchill, as Britons were hoping for U.S. intervention while facing Nazi invasion during World War II. Americans will always do the right thing after exhausting all other alternatives. It's actually a quote from Abba Eban, an Israeli politician. But then there's a second quote, and this is one that Barack Obama used. He and others attributed it to Martin Luther King. But it's actually a quote from the 19th century abolitionist Theodore Parker about slavery. The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. I share these quotes with you because they give me hope. The struggle may be long. We may exhaust every alternative before we achieve universal health insurance. Think that we're not going to let the boulder Sisyphus roll back down the hill, however. Let's think about simply being on another tack towards social justice, indeed the right of universal health insurance, and know that we will get there. Today is a glorious day, a day to celebrate your initiation as physicians. That's why it's called a commencement, as a new beginning as you enter the medical profession, not just for you, but of course for UC Riverside. And it is truly the best profession there is. I mean, think about it. My apologies to my kids who are both attorneys. When the flight attendant comes on the PA system while you're flying at 35,000 feet, they never seem to ask, is there a lawyer on board? But I have one last request of you. As I said at the beginning of my speech, today you are all becoming doctors, but you did not become doctors on your own. Honor the commitments and the sacrifices that so many have made on your behalf, including the patients who helped train you. And when you're seeing patients, never forget about those who can't see you because they're uninsured and they can't pass the wallet biopsy. I applaud your aspiration to a career in medicine and promise you the reward that flows from saving a life or healing a wound, the reward of hearing a patient simply say, "Thank you, doctor." That reward is a shared gift of transcendence between doctor and patient, a connection beyond their age, their income, their language, or education. It is a creation and sharing of our mutual bond in a special and personal space and time, reaffirming the humanity of both persons, a bond that should be unfettered by the artificial barriers created by the absence of health insurance. Thank you, UC Riverside School of Medicine Class of 2017, for the privilege of serving as your commencement speaker tonight, and congratulations once again on your graduation.
Thank you, Dr. Carlisle. Graduates, we are now at a moment, the moment you've been waiting for a long time, the conferral of your degrees. Ladies and gentlemen, the degree Doctor of Medicine is awarded to those who have successfully completed a rigorous course of study at an allopathic medical school. Will the candidates for the degree Doctor of Medicine please rise? Chancellor Wilcox, as Dean of the School of Medicine, I have the honor to present the candidates who have met all the requirements for the Doctor of Medicine degree and are deemed worthy of this distinction.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Regents of the University of California, I confer upon you the degree Doctor of Medicine, with all the insignia, rights, honors, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto. Congratulations.
Graduates, please proceed to the platform. Dr. Michael Duarte, Senior Associate Dean, will introduce the candidates.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am honored to present our doctoral degree recipients who will be hooded by Associate Dean Emma Simmons and Senior Associate Dean Neil Schiller. Our Doctor of Medicine degree recipients are Omar Aldous, Rebecca Carlotta Bishop, Brianna Campbell, Paul Chan, John Christian Kinnett Costambrado, Brittany Nicole Davis, Yasaman Demeri, Anish Damija, Martina DiBella, Kevin Xerxes Durgan, Sarah Adarelli Gomez, Douglas Scott Grover, Jennifer Hahn. Brian Silvino Hernandez. Christopher Thomas Holland. Talab Ibrahim. Megan Lay. Eddie Lee. Lila Borja Magistrado. Trina Mansour. Kiara Maruji. Raj Irvind Mehta. Vincent Reginald F. Narvaez. Daniel Kyle O'Brien. Rafael Ornelas. Megan Nicole Pelter. Jonathan Howe Pham. Anna Naomi Rakutian. Isaiah James Copeland Ruggo. Jair Nicholas Saunders. Tiffany Cito. Hannah Louise Shihata. Elliot Morris Silver. Ashley Lauren Stone. Stephanie Ann Stramotis. Diana Min Tran. Jacob Lee Van Orman. Brian Ming Ye. Esther Ningchu Zarecki. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the presentation of graduates. Please join me in congratulating our UCR School of Medicine inaugural class.
Congratulations, graduates. I would now like to take a moment to recognize the special service of those among our graduating class, among our student body, among our faculty and staff, and greater community who have and are serving in the U.S. military. We are proud to have in the class of 2017 2 active duty members of the military and 1 veteran. Let's give a round of applause and a recognition of these public servants. And now, I would like to introduce Dr. Paul Lyons, Senior Associate Dean, Medical Education, who will administer the Hippocratic Oath.
Doctors, full circle, yes? Welcome. I would like to offer for the graduates as well as physicians in the audience the opportunity to join us in reciting the UCR School of Medicine Hippocratic Oath. If the graduates and physicians in the audience would please rise, the oath can be found on page 3 of your program. Please read along with me. Today, I begin my profession as a physician. As such, I will dedicate my life's work to improving the health and well-being of my patients and to the prevention of human suffering as a basic human right. As I continue my studies in the art and science of medicine, I will not lose sight of the importance of integrity and honor. I will use the skills and knowledge I have gained to heal and, above all, do no harm. I will always honor the profession of medicine, be gracious to my colleagues, counsel them when needed, and help sustain them in our shared service to humanity. I embark on this pathway having benefited from many pillars of support: faculty, mentors, peers. Just as I have learned from those who preceded me, I will contribute to the growth of those who succeed me in the practice of medicine. I will remain cognizant of the limits of my knowledge, seek counsel when appropriate, and always pursue a path to better serve my patients, their families, and my community. Among the attributes most respected in physicians, I will embrace compassion, empathy, ethics, and honesty. My service as a healer and my relationships with my peers and colleagues will not be adversely affected by race, ethnicity, religion, nationality, age, physical or mental ability, financial or social status, sexual orientation, or gender identity. I will be a strong advocate for patients in need and strive for justice in the care of the sick and the underserved. I will keep in strict confidence anything I see or hear of the lives of my patients. I understand the sacred trust that will be bestowed upon me as a physician. As such, I will hold myself above any wrongdoing or malice and never tolerate deception or fraud. In being true to this oath, I freely promise to uphold the finest traditions within the practice of medicine. Thank you, and please be seated.
Thank you, Dr. Lyons. And now, members of the class of 2017 would like to close with a special reflection, recited in their native languages. Will the students offering reflections please join me at the podium? Now please listen to the different languages united in one common mission. Students, tell us your language first, then say the phrase.
English. May we leave here to cure when possible, to care always.
हिंदी उपचार के लिए एक सीमा है, उपचार के लिए एक सीमा है, लेकिन देखभाल हमेशा हमारा धर्म रहा है.
Italian. Partiamo da qui per guarire quando possibile e sempre prenderci cura dei nostri pazienti.
Spanish. Que dejemos este lugar para curar cuando se nos haga posible, enfocándonos siempre al cuidado de nuestros pacientes.
فارسی. باشد که با تمام کردن این مرحله بتوانیم تا آنجایی که در توانمان هست به جامعه و خلق خدمت کنیم.
Romanian. De azi înainte, pornim să vindicăm prin medicină și compasiune.
Gujarati. અમે દરેક રોગીને અહીંયા શક્ય હોય ત્યાં રોગથી સાજા કરીને જરૂરથી કાળજી લઈશું.
Armenian. Megning eistaren ein nabadagov vor pujenk yep garlie paits hogonk misht.
Arabic. أرجو أن نتخرج لتأمين العلاج ما أمكن وللعناية دوما.
Vietnamese. Mong chúng ta khi rời nơi đây sẽ tận tâm, cố gắng cứu chữa mọi người.
Korean. 앞으로 할 수 있는 한 최선을 다해 치료하고 언제나 환자들을 먼저 생각하겠습니다.
And let it be so. Let us go forth.
Thank you, Dr. Schiller. Success in medical school depends on support from family and friends. Graduates, please join me in thanking all those who have helped you reach this day. Before we conclude, I would like to recognize the many volunteers who have given up their evening so that we can enjoy this beautiful ceremony. Please join me in thanking them. Now to conclude this evening's ceremony, Dr. Stephanie Stramatis will lead us in the singing of our alma mater, Hail Fair UCR. The words are displayed on the video screens. Will everyone please stand? Thank you.
UCR fair alma mater, jewel of old UC. Fiat lux a shining vision, light to set minds free. Seeking ever, yielding never, old Scots near and far. Loft our love back to the Highlands. UCR. Orange trees blooming in the highlands, Boyd Tower chimes ring clear. Standing tall twixt mount and desert, Scots all hold her dear. Seeking ever, yielding never, old Scots near and far. Waft our love back to the highlands, hail fair UCR.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us this evening. Please remain in your seats until the administrative party, faculty, and graduates have recessed. Immediately following the ceremony, we hope that you will join us for a celebratory reception out on the patio. Thank you.